panel here. Joining us also is senior legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Elliot Williams. He served as deputy assistant attorney general in the Obama administration. Elliot, were you surprised by the scope, the scale of the pardons?
I was not. And let's go back to exactly what Paula had said. The pardon power is absolute as laid out in the Constitution. It's probably, I think, the only power given to any of the branches of government, the courts, Congress, or the president, that has so few limits on it. And given the fact that President Trump said quite clearly, or at least teased that he was planning on pardoning any number of these individuals, it should not come as a surprise that he took advantage of basically the freebie that the Constitution gives presidents of the United States. So no, I'm not surprised.
Let's go.
Well, watching Donald Trump's day today, I'm just struck by the fact that we have a president again. I mean, look at this guy's day. 3 speeches, 196 executive actions, holds a 90-minute press conference narrating each one as he goes along. I mean, Joe Biden could not and would not offer the kind of transparency or vigor to the American people that we got here on day one from Trump. And tonight, Trump's going to throw on a tux and go to 3 balls. I mean, he's having an active day. I think it's going to be a massive amount of contrast here for a presidency like what we're going to see out of Trump and versus what we've had out of Biden. I was watching Trump today, and Van and I were talking earlier today, watching him walk down the hall of the Capitol, and the words that came to mind to me were gritty, resilient, determined, and audacious. There's not like a more perfect advertisement for the value of these qualities in modern America. I mean, you think about all the things that happened to him. Winning, losing, the court cases, nearly being assassinated. It's rather audacious what he has accomplished, winning this election and taking office today. And you said you were in shock. Well, Republicans are in awe.
What about the pardons? What's your take on that?
Here's what I think. Were these people punished? Yes. Were they ruined financially? Yes. Did they spend time in jail? Yes. Have their lives been ruined? Absolutely. And one of you said earlier, Van or Axe, that you think this sends a terrible signal that you can get away with things like this, as though we've never had a moment in recent American history when people were not punished for rampaging around when they shouldn't have been. It was the summer of 2020. And these people were actually punished. Those people were never even charged.
That's not true at all.
That's not true. Most charges were not.
Let him answer.
But I do see it differently in that I don't like it when people tear up buildings at all. I'm not a part of some pro-riot, pro-crime lobby. But I really don't like it when people attack police officers. I really don't like it at all. I'm the son of a police officer. My uncle's a police officer. I don't like it at all. If you attack a police officer, before you get any lenience or before you get any support from this society, you should apologize. And they didn't. And that's wrong. And you yourself and others said you would have a problem if the violent ones were let go.
I concede it. I agree.
And that's my problem tonight.
I agree. I don't like the idea specifically the people that attack police. I'm in agreement with you on that. But I do think it is important to note that these people, whatever they did, whether it was just accidentally walking in or doing something much, much worse, Elliot, you can correct me if I'm wrong, most of them, if not all of them, did get punished, serve some kind of time. And my assumption is virtually all of them have had their lives effectively ruined by this.
I thought there were hundreds of them who have not actually been tried yet.
Several hundreds, but I think it's around 300 who haven't gone to trial yet.
I don't know, Scott. We sat here together after January 6th, and you were eloquent about how you felt about what you saw. And I felt the same way. And again, I'll go back to the point I made before. I think there were people there who were bent on violence. There were people there who belonged to white nationalist organizations. Leaders of them were among those who's had their sentences commuted or they were pardoned tonight. We'll see when all the smoke clears how they're classified. But that wasn't just, I think assaulting police officers was, an egregious affront. But assaulting the process of certifying a free and fair election was also an egregious affront. Rampaging through a building that you and I both revere was an egregious affront. And so, for the president to call them hostages and to essentially blanket excuse their behavior is part and parcel of the original sin, which was his assertion without evidence that he continues to this day to say that that election was stolen from him. They were actually acting on his representations. So, I think the whole thing, I agree, he was energetic today. He projected the message he wanted to on a whole range of issues. He showed his stamina. You're going to have to stop living off of Joe Biden after a while here. But all of that is true. But there's a reason why they waited until the end of the day after the news, the evening news and so on. He didn't do it in front of the crowd at the arena. He went back to the White House later in the evening so it wouldn't dominate the coverage all day long. They knew he didn't mention it in his inaugural speech. 57% of Americans said they disapprove of this when they were asked by the Wall Street Journal. 50 of them strongly disapproved. So I'll give him credit for political courage, I guess, because he did something that was deeply unpopular here by paroling these people. But there's really no way to justify it. And the fact that he showed a lot of stamina today doesn't really.
I want to hear from Aaron because we haven't heard from Aaron. What do you think?
I think if you're part of the Trump team that's now in the White House today, that shock and awe, this big delivery today of all the executive actions, but J6 especially, those pardons, this is exactly what Donald Trump said they were going to do. That is going to be the Trump team stance coming out of today. They're going to be like, you wanted us to come in and get out of the Paris Climate Accord. He has been talking about the J6 detainees, hostages, whatever language he has been using about them the entire time. He used this on the campaign trail. And so today he walked in the White House and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. So if you're the Trump team, yeah, I do think they're going to have a hard time coming out of this, especially with those who assaulted police officers or committed violent crimes. That's going to be very tough for them to try and say, hey, listen, we just went for it. I think this is the hard part for them. But right now, their messaging is going to be, we did exactly what we said we would do, day one.
Let's go back to Caitlin.